Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first podcast in what I hope is a very successful podcast series. This is your podcast, first year ECE students in section 3. Woohoo! So before we begin, let me just tell you a little bit about the podcast project. Really, the whole goal is to help you survive. And so in order to do that, we're going to be creating a new podcast approximately every 2 weeks. They are going to be 4 to 5 minutes in length, so not too long. You should be able to view those easily. They are going to be available for you on YouTube. I think you've probably all heard about YouTube. Closed captions are available, and so if you think that will help you, please click on that option when you're viewing the videos on YouTube. When there's a new podcast available, you'll get an announcement from me in that virtual class. Remember, I set that up for you. It will appear in your Omnivox class list, and you'll get an announcement whenever there's a new podcast. And each podcast is tailored to you, Section 3. And so it's got your schedule of courses on it, and hopefully it will be very helpful because as you are starting to realize, there are some keys to success here in CEGEP. The first one is staying organized. This is really, really important, and I'm sure now that you've got 2 weeks of school under your belt, you're starting to realize that. Also, being able to manage your time in an effective and efficient way, especially if you're juggling other commitments, work and family and things like that. And so the real key is to stay on track, keep up with everything. In order to do that, I'm going to encourage you to find some kind of tool to help you stay on track. Something to keep you organized. Here are some options you can think about. You could, of course, use your Vanier agenda, and in that write down things like due dates for assignments, tests, exams, readings, things like that. You might have another calendar that you want to use to keep track of all your schoolwork. There are online options, iCalendar, Google Calendar. You can use all of those on your phone, of course. This last option, not such a good choice. We're not going to give her the responsibility of keeping us on track. Now that we are in CEGEP, this is your job. So, how do these podcasts fit in? Every week, I'm going to show you a calendar just like this, and it will have all of your Section 3 courses on it. So, let's proceed. I'm going to show you the calendar for next week, and at this point I am going to urge you to remain calm and breathe through the nose, because as we talked about in class, there is already a schedule change for next week. So as you may remember, Monday is a holiday, no school, yay! But what that means is there is a schedule change, as I said. So on Tuesday you will be following your Monday schedule, and you can see all of your Monday classes there. On Wednesday, we're back on track with the Wednesday courses, and then Thursday, and that's the end of that week. By the next week, we're back to normal. So on Monday classes, Tuesday, you've got your observing lab, Wednesday classes, everything is back on track, and Thursday. So there you go. Phew, that's a lot of information, but hopefully that little run through of the calendar will help you to stay on track. And that's the kind of thing we're going to be doing with this podcast each week. So going forward, what would I like to be doing with these podcasts? Well, one thing that I'd like all of you in Section 3 to think about is how you could personalize the podcasts. So for example, one thing we could work on is the theme or the look. I've got the whole green theme going there, but maybe you'd like something more like this, or something like this, something along these lines, or something calm and soothing with feathers like this. So this is really up to you, Section 3. Let me know what you think about how you want your podcasts to look. You can post your comments in the comments section on YouTube. Also, in that comments section, you'll find a complete transcript of everything that I have said in this podcast, if you'd like to read that through again. And of course, stay tuned for the next announcement in that virtual class, because that will mean that a new podcast is available, especially for you, first year, Section 3. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.